I'll back this thing off. Now take a closer, better look at a different angle. So, lift the camera off this tripod here. Flip my screen back over. So, as you can see, I cleaned that up so it looks a little bit more shinier now. And that's using a little wire brush. And I cleaned that, and I cleaned the spot right there on the back side a little. See if I can get it. That's about as close as I can get it. So, but the lock key was sit right in this little groove right here, and if you actually notice here, this is what happened to it. It got so rusted and brittle that it just broke. So I had to get another one about that size. Oops. I'm gonna have to get another one about that exact same size to replace. Put it back in there. I'm gonna use that wire wheel to clean a little bit more of this up. Then I'll put that washer back on and put this back in there, and hopefully it should move a little bit more freely. But I might put some grease in there just in case. Put just like a little bit of light grease on here so that way it slips very easily enough. Because I need that to move, so that way it actually bounces between these two here, which tells the limits of the tone arm, where your start point and ending points are. Basically, this point, I believe, will tell the arm where to start, and this right here would indicate where it's going to stop before it actually trips on here, which usually you can actually adjust it by either moving this up and down a little or this, which I think it's actually this right here that you can move, because this is the trip mech and that's the magnet it uses to trip it. Every Seeburg unit pretty much runs the exact same way, and for that method they never change. So I'm going to clean that one piece up a little bit more, and I'll show some video after I clean it up a bit. Alright, I have cleaned the piece up a bit, so as you can probably see if I can back this up again. Jesus. As you can see, I have cleaned it up. It's a little bit in the dark. On that side here has been cleaned. Cleaned this, and I even put some WD-40 in the middle to spray clean that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to insert it back onto this shaft here, and get some like a little bit of light grease to put on there. So just need a very thin layer, which I'm going to put a little bit onto this piece as well. Then zoom the camera back in again. That device. This is not going to be locked in place, but I just want to see how loose it's going to be when I get in here. It should be still pretty slick fit, so, but, okay. Alright. See, that's the way it's supposed to feel. It's supposed to feel pretty loose. Since we got a little bit of that on there, we'll put a little bit of grease on this one side of the piece, and to put this washer back on. There's one washer that goes on before, and there's one that comes in after. Then there's the key lock. So there, it should slip. And now it's pretty loose on there now, so it should operate like it's supposed to. I'm going to grab this one washer over here. It's got some pretty bad rust on it as well, which I'm going to hang on to that, because if I leave it on there, most likely I'll fall off and I'll lose it, and I wouldn't want that. I would have shown more of the spring that originally came on this thing, but for some odd reason it kind of just fell off somewhere. I put it in a certain spot, but I couldn't find the darn thing, and they tried looking all hell for it, and I couldn't find it. So But I do got another spring installed for the plunger port, but I'm thinking the wire's a little too thick still. What I bought was a 16 thousandths thick wire, so I might have to go a little bit smaller to see if I can find smaller ones. I think it might have been like a 13 or like a 12 or 13 or less. That's how I put it. So, but I know the spring wasn't that long. I think it was only about an inch, and the wire was ultra thin. So, probably the thinnest wire you could find in existence. But I don't think too many manufacturers make these things anymore. So it's not exactly easy to find. Because either I have to get that, either that lighter, which would probably be the best recommendation, or something else. I don't know. Still got a lot of this other stuff I got to clean up still, so I'm going to try to polish it up a bit more. But I want to see what this thing is going to do to me here. Shut off my main power source first. And I want to see, this should work with the tone arm, so. Alright, so that's supposed to go like that. And that's controlled by these guys here, which also has busted springs on them, which I have to find some time to replace them. I think. Whoop. Ah, darn it. See, you gotta be really careful with these springs. You easily lose them. Yeah. Okay. So I still got that one. This is one of them weird hook types. I know, I'll put this in a little can so I don't lose it. Keep it in the can. But I've definitely got to find some time to replace those. But I'll keep an eye on this while I reboot this thing up to see how it's going to work. Alrighty. Alright, at least that's kicking in anyway. Alrighty, I just knocked over my WD-40 can and bumped it. I'm going to back the camera out because this thing's going to move constantly on me. But I want to see what it's going to do in the other direction here. And I want to pull this back just enough. Nope. That's not going to work. Alright guys, so I'm going to need to put a testy on this thing. Which is going to be a real pain in the butt because of this freaking plunger is not operating correctly. So back onto this. I had to make that spring a little bit more shorter or something. So that way I can get this thing to move it back like I want it to. So, but see. Everybody mode right? Yeah. Alright. Now I check this. Check its floatiness. Should we? I'm gonna shut that off so that way I don't trip it. I don't want it to trip. So I can see how loose it is here. You see, after some WD-40 actually sprayed onto those ball screws, it's actually loose finally. Be pretty nice now, so. The counterbalance might be off a bit, which I'll have to work on that later, so. But, what you can see that this piece here is now moved into the position, so definitely know it's actually pretty loose now. So now I'm gonna watch this reject and see if it should put the tone arm back into lock. So we'll push the tone arm all the way to the rejection. Kick it, and the lock comes down like it's supposed to. Remove that. I don't want it falling off when it starts moving again, like it's not doing like it usually is. Still got to figure out what do I need to do. I'm trying to get this thing back into motion here. Alright, back that camera back off. You can see that the tone arm is actually into its locking position, not being too floaty. And that's what I want. So, because I don't want this darn thing to just be somewhere. So let's try the record attempt again. So, this should be pretty fun to do. That's not the side I want, so. Definitely gotta do something with that spring though. Probably gonna have to use that spring even smaller yet, or something. So I can get this to work the way I want it. Alright, let's go to the record. The record drops down. See, the switch goes back in. Alright. Comes up. It starts where it's supposed to, and it stops. So, okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to install the belts. So, I'm just going to move this camera over here now. I don't want to keep these belts on here, but I'll put them on every once in a while if I need them. So, still got a little low on a camera yet. See if I can. There we go. A bit easier. And this thing, just like on the old Wollitzers, for what I've seen, that play the record the same way as Seeburg does right here. It has it upright. So the first tube belt. Oops. I'm gonna put it on this small one first to make it easier. It's gonna come up here. I'm gonna go to stretch a little bit. And we want to get it to that second line because we want it in that second groove over there. Come on now. Alright, it's on there now. Oh, there we go. Now the second one goes on, which is a little bit easier than the first one. The first one you can get it on like the first groove for a start. Then just move it over so that way you have room for the second one. I think even the 3700 uses the exact same method. They use two belts. So, well, Rockwell use like an idler wheel. Back up. And we got the thing playing again, so